How are you?
Good evening.
Call to order. We are in session. Maybe you want to take a roll call?
Yes. Chairman Farbenblum, present.
Here.
Mr. Cohen,
Here.
present. Miss Reed,
Here.
Dr. Claudia,
Yes, here.
Mr. Zeisman,
Present.
Ms. Figueroa,
Here.
Ms. Campbell,
Present.
and Mr. Abraham.
Present.
We have a quorum and we can begin.
Okay, public comment first.
We have one speaker, Robert Harris.
Mr. Harris, the floor is yours. You're on mute.
You're on mute, Mr. Harris.
Right, I'll unmute. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, how you doing? First of all, I'd like to say, how you doing to the chairman, to our CEO, Dr. Boone, Chairman Edward Farbenblum, legal counsel, Meg, and Chief Financial by John Donnelly and others with the board. I was just like to, I have a whole lot to say, but I won't. But I'd like to just ask a couple of things, because I know you was talking about, Chairman, implementing a systemic strategic plan and for the healthy improvement for the corporation and employing the turnaround specialist. So I'm just asking, you know, in doing so, can we just have someone from CSA that's within this corporation at the table for the future plans of the corporation, so we know moving forward what's going on also, because it's also for the effort for us to work together. Secondly, I would like to ask if you would reconsider the public comments to return back to the end of the session, because they were always at the end of the session. They was just changed last year in August because of the state of events at that time. We asked for them to be changed because we was in somewhat of a crisis. And I just think they'd be more suited to be changed back to the end so we could comment on the things that's going on, which also would benefit the public, because we are a safety net hospital and also a public entity. And I think for the public's interest, it would be better suited towards the end. So those are the two recommendations I would like you to consider. And thank you for giving me your time and your ear for today.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Harris, thank you. First of all, just regarding your request to move public comments at the end, I will put an email out to the board to request their input. I think we moved it to the beginning because Jerry LaRochute had requested at the beginning, but I am open to either way. I'll put it out to the board by email and see what they say, and we'll get back to you. As far as the other request about having a voice in the future, absolutely, absolutely. Like I say always, I don't think anything we do works without labor's buy-in, right? We need the line staff to be on board, otherwise we're just gonna spin our wheels. That having been said, I'm gonna have very brief opening comments. We've had an eventful month since our last meeting. First of all, I'd like to welcome our colleague Steve Cohen back. Steve, welcome back. Glad to see you're doing well. Second of all, and more importantly, no offense, Steve, I would like to announce that we had over the past week our Joint Commission survey in this fine building, and we passed without any conditionals. Wonderful news. And to Dr. Bruton and his team, specifically Janet's credit, we are very excited. We just got the letter moments before the meeting that we did very well. And I specifically want to say that this joint committee survey was worse than most. It was on the tail end of the vaccine mandate after a tremendous amount of disruption amongst the staff because of the vaccine mandate. on the tail of 2 years that were an absolute disaster of a crisis, and the team pulled together and did a great job. And we got great feedback. And personally, I'm extremely proud of our team. So a big hand for Dr. Booten and Janice. And Maureen Shannon, who ran the process. Sorry, she's not in the room. So Dr. Booten will speak about the specifics in a bit. Separate apart from that, and because of Joint Commission issues, we got pushed off a bit on it. But we did have a kickoff meeting this week that I did not attend because I was requested not to attend, with Fried Maxick there in the data gathering stage. But I feel very good about how things are going. And what other events do we need to report? That was the big one.
Chairman, I would like to add into the thanks into the staff, especially the maintenance and all those departments who equally worked very dedicatedly towards the hospital. They deserve equally applaud, not just the management, but everybody on the staff, especially the maintenance people. They work very hard because I very closely watch. They deserve the equal recognition of applaud.
I agree with Dr. Colati. Everybody in this building pulled together to make it happen. Dr. Booten, you're up.
All right. Good evening, everybody. Since our last meeting, the chairman had said everything. Lots have occurred. We had a vaccine mandate with religious exemptions. I'll
And then
go,
without, and then with.
right, we'll go over the Joint Commission, paid us a visit from the 5th to the 8th. We had a kickoff with the Fried Maxick. And it was kicked off yesterday in terms of with the executive staff. Our chairman is actually working diligently to finish off the method response. And we are on track and on budget for this year. The house is full, both here and A. Holly Patterson with patients. So those are the things that I'm going to be talking about. So today, our census here at the hospital is 340. That's 20 over budget. Over at A.L.E. Patterson, it's at 464, which is 40 over budget. We're in steady state with the third COVID wave. We peaked at 30. Today, we have 11 patients in the hospital with COVID. We closed the 18th floor at this time. All our patients right now are isolated on the 7th floor. Our total discharges is 1,913. Live is 1,513. Our average daily census for September is 332. Again, that's 12 over budget. Our case mix index is up a little bit, 0.99 from last month. The volume in the emergency department is 800 above budget. We've been busy. We're back to where we were the last several years. Our ambulatory surgery volume is up at 60 above budget. Again, the average daily census at A. Holly Patterson for the month of September is 453. Again, that's 33 patients above budget. And currently our new program has about 35 new patients, way above budget. Again, the Joint Commission paid us a visit. Like the chairman said, we passed, no conditions. We just received the letter maybe about 10 minutes before the start of the legal and audit meeting. There were 7 elements of complimentary that I want to be able to share with you guys. I'm sure I sent it to the board. The survey.
Mind if I make an editorial comment? Sure. I can't put too fine a point on this. The Joint Commission coming in the first week after the vaccine mandate was disastrous timing. It was probably the hardest timing the hospital could have had. And the team really pulled together and deserve an applaud. Go for it.
No, I agree with that. What the surveyors saw is what we've seen here in the building for the last several years, that as a team, the entire building came together. It's been months and months of working diligently with our quality staff and our nursing staff and housekeeping and then everybody pitching in. And they saw that. They saw that from the first day they got here to the last day they got here. So they worked with us and make sure that we did well on the survey. So there's certain things that they actually wanted to make sure that we shared with the board. They said that that our staff, the medical staff, the nursing staff, worked diligently to serve the needs of the community. And that's one of the things that they actually put in their comments. NUMIC addressed the needs of the community through traditional and non-traditional methods. NUMIC is driving patient care using data. Nassau University Medical Center uses a variety of innovative technology to enhance patient safety. Nassau University Medical Center repurposes certain areas of the building to enhance life balance. Nassau University Medical Center is a shining example of diversity. Nassau University Medical Center is innovative in the use of space. It is evident that Nassau University Medical Center is fully committed, has a fully committed executive staff, senior leadership, medical staff, and nursing staff, and to being a high reliability organization, and it's embedded with culture of safety. They couldn't have said anything more. I was more proud of our staff that day than any time that I've been here, because really, we couldn't have gotten through the survey without our team. Whether it's the union, whether it's our employees, the day-to-day workers, they all bought in. And there are things that we've done for them and they've done for us that hasn't been done over the last several years. So they're very appreciative. So that's the Joint Commission survey. In terms of the vaccine mandate, it's really simple. 99% of our staff is vaccinated. The ones that are not vaccinated, it's 89 members that with the religious exemption, and we're waiting for the courts to sort that stuff out. But majority of our staff, 99%, are all vaccinated. At no time, whether it's A. Holly Patterson, the hospital, the correctional facility, the LFQHCs, that care was compromised at any time. That never happened. Both campuses, the volume is up. We had a very successful open house both here and in Holly Patterson. We've recruited somewhere in the vicinity about 200 personnel. Right now, 116 of them are in the process of being hired. We have about 76 nurses and about 40 PCAs between both campuses. We're working with the union, along with HR, to increase our rates, incentivizing our staff to pick up extra shifts. That way, we use less agency staff. So we're in that process. We're almost done with that. We're looking to hire new graduates, whether it's on the nursing staff or the clinical staff, and we want to be able to retain talented individuals within the building. We continue with the outside physician group. It's still going. The discussion is ongoing. We've actually forming the IPA with the physician group, and it's in process as we're speaking. We have a couple of projects that are underway that I want to just highlight. The waiting areas for the operating room and the ICU is underway. The physician lounge is almost completed. The Carmen Avenue entrance plans are being drawn up for that. We got a little bit more funding from Zaki Hussein, so we'll fix that up in the next couple of months. Our maternity and pediatric floors are being renovated as we speak. They're going to start probably in the next week or so. And we're looking to ways of fixing up our pediatric intensive care unit, or the PICU for, I take that back, the NICU, neonatal intensive care unit, because we're considering increasing the volume of deliveries within the building in the next several months. We had a major kickoff with our consultants, Fried Maxix, yesterday, looking at data acquisition, scope of service, teamwork, and making sure that we're able to use the data and have a major plan moving ahead. That's actually my report. I wanted to make it short and sweet.
So short of treating one of the most eventful months in the hospital.
Chairman, while Dr. Bhutan finish, may I have a couple comments relate to it?
Sure.
He is very modestly, by the way, good evening to all of you who are on, and especially my board member and my brother from another mother, Steve Cohen. Good to see you again. The compliment Dr. Bhutan actually didn't share, which I know, as you guys know, I do have my relationships with certain people. The lead person on the survey was Dr. Gina Bilson. And she was the team leader for this whole thing. Applauded Dr. Bhutan, that I know. Chairman, she was the main person on the team of the JACOs, Joint Commission. She specifically applauded Dr. Bhutan as a leader and the job they had done under very critical circumstances. So I want to join her and her team as a all board member to applaud the leadership that he has shown, and entire staff joined and work hard to succeed in the commissions. You did not mention that, Dr. Bhutan, but I thought it's important. Somebody who knows personally recognize that. I applaud you and I thank you. I also want you to know that on personal level, I had many visit family or other members from the communities in a year where myself and Dr. Bhutan, I saw him working hard, and many other our doctors. We should be very proud of the work they had done or they're doing in ER. I think it's the best, better than anyone around us. You know, I'm not afraid to criticize when I want to criticize, when things are not right. But I also want to join and applaud when I witness all the good work and good things our staff doing.
Thank you, Dr. Kaladi.
I'm finishing up on saying I did attend other things, but other matters I will come back to but I wanted to, while Dr. Bhutan finishes the report, to add in to applaud the work his leadership and they had done.
You know, if I may, just for a moment.
Steve, before you go, I want to add something to it, something Dr. Kaladi said. The other thing that I think the staff deserves a big applaud for is after when the vaccine mandate went live, I was extremely afraid that we were going to have to go on diversion. I can tell you a lot of hospitals in the state went on diversion, including a handful on Long Island, and we were not on diversion, not for 1 minute in this hospital. We handled it. So.
He got my applaud.
You know, if I may, unfortunately, I've had the recent experience to sample some of our competition. And one of the hospitals that I was brought to is Westchester, amongst other hospitals before I wound up where I wound up. And I have to tell you, having experienced it as a patient and having experienced NUMC as a patient in the past, we should be damn proud of what we do. I mean, we really should. I have to tell you something. I left Westchester. I couldn't get out of there fast enough. And everybody who was with me, we all concurred. We whether we appreciate it or not, we are a standard in what we do and the space that we occupy in healthcare. And we should be very, very proud of it. So, and I congratulate everybody who's sitting in the room on the top left of my screen, who run the hospital on a day-to-day basis. Well done. I can't say anything more. Well done.
Come on, they gotta give them applause, you know, don't be cheap.
Okay, turning to business, can I get a motion to approve the board minutes from?
I make the motion to be approved the minute.
Second,
Second,
that was Claudia and Cohen. All in favor? Any opposed? Aren't you supposed to do this part? I'm sure I'm remembering now. There we go. Next.
Okay, I'm gonna keep my report brief, because I know we have other things to get to. I just wanted to report out that, we have, the legal department collected $25,000 in no fault fees, since the last meeting, so we have that. And we did receive 2, grants for breast cancer screening, $5,000 from Senator Brooks and $7,000 from Senator Thomas, and that's to pay, strictly to pay for mammograms for patients that can't afford it. And then I would like, if we can, have a motion to approve the legal and audit minutes from September 13th, 2021.
I make a motion to be approved.
Thank you. That's Dr. Hardy. Second by Ms. Campbell. All in favor?
Aye.
Any objections? Motion carries. And then the approval of the resolutions that were sent to you and approved at the
Megan?
audit meeting today.
Megan,
Yes,
I think the chairman had to take that boards because you presenting the report, so he had to take that board.
I'm allowed to present it. I'm not allowed to vote on it, but.
I can ask. Yeah, so a motion to approve the resolutions.
Yeah, well, I made the motion, second by our board member, Sarah Campbell, and then now chairman, you had to take everybody's vote.
We're on the resolution?
Yep.
So I'm calling all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Motion carries.
Motion carries. Okay, Finance Committee?
Okay.
Hold on, Rich, before. Warren, do you want to make any comments before Mr. Rank makes his comments?
No, I don't have any comments at this time.
Okay,
Thank you, though.
Rich?
Okay, included in the distribution was the July financial statements, and I'll be brief. Year to date through July, we had budgeted a $66 million loss. We're $5.4 million favorable to budget. We're at a little over $60 million. Where that comes out is our revenue is better than budget for a couple of reasons. Some of the initiatives we had in the budget were exceeding to date on the revenue cycle side. And some of the expenses are exceeding budget because we did not budget for the administration of the vaccines. There's another handout. Do you have the? I just want to do a screen share on one. It's an 8-month summary of some key statistics that'll give us the trends that Dr. Booten talked about, and that might give everybody a good idea where we've been all this through the year. That's the financials. There's a one pager.
Trying to.
That's the next tab in the booklet.
Part of the
Yeah, where is it in the book? In the book, Rich?
part of the financials.
No, it's one of that's I think Sassy has it anyway.
I do, but
Anyway, while Sassy's looking for that to share it, the other point that I wanted to make in July, we did, oh, there it is. Okay, we'll talk about this. This is just a running summary of where we've been through this year. And probably the top line gives you a good indication of what we've done with vaccines and a little bit of the resurgence with COVID-19. As you can see, in December, we started giving out vaccines and it ran through April in a pretty heavy way, over 10,000 almost every one of those months. And then it's tails off since. Interestingly, the discharges, when we budgeted discharges for 2021, we went back to our historic levels of about 20,000 visits a year. We did that because the average daily census, as we were doing the budget, had rebounded back to what Dr. Wooten said of 322 patients in-house on average every day. We've been running higher than that, although the discharges are a little below that. And that's the impact there is the case mix. We historically have always had a 0.92 case mix through many, many years. You can see on the third line there what our case mix has been: 110, 130, 1.3, 1.13. We budgeted for the case mix to be 1.01. And you can see that we've been above what we budgeted, which was a 10% uptick in the intensity of patients that we see, that we've always seen historically. So based upon the discharges coming back generally to where we were historically and a higher case mix, it's been favorable to us as an institution. Down below that, you see the general clinics. In the beginning of the year, we were below budget by almost, between 17 and 1,600 in a month. We've now come up to being just about at budget, if not over budget, for the last 4 or 5 months. The emergency room, we did budget to stay low because we historically had like 5,700 visits a month on any given month of the year. At the time we did the budget, we budgeted 4,700 because it had not rebounded because of COVID. You can see that it stayed low in the beginning of the year, but now we're way over budget to the point that Dr. Wooten said is we're almost back to historic levels of over almost 5,500 a month. So that's been very favorable. On the A. Holly Patterson side, on the resident days, as you see it there, just to remind everybody, we implemented the 2 cultural programs earlier than we had budgeted for. We had budgeted to start them in the second half of the year because of the lack of visitation at the nursing home. We started it up at the end of the first quarter, and you can see the new programs. They went from not being existent in the first quarter to now we're almost at, as of July, we're at 30. As of today, we're at around at 35. So we're favorable to budget, and that reflects in the line above that, with the residents day being almost 1,000 over each of the last couple months. The only other points that I point out is on a balance sheet, Albany reopened in April, and we had 3 issues that we had to pay back. We had a HECRA audit for assessments against our cash assessments. We had a detox issue from years ago, and we had gotten overpaid on Dish IGT in 2019. Albany demanded all of those back in April, and that's the 11,100,000 there. The detox was 2.9. The HECRA was 2.7, and the payback.
Mr. Rich, can you just hold back for a second? Chairman, may I ask a question in between or no?
Sure.
What are you talking about 11 million? When they was demanded and why they were demanded?
We had 3 issues where we got, there were 2 billing issues. One was detox, where we were billing psych patients as detox. We had been working with the Office of the Medicaid Inspector General over the last year or so, and we got a demand letter before COVID hit. They did not ask for that back throughout the whole year of COVID.
I'm still confused. Did you didn't did the billing correctly, or we did overcharge? I want you to share why they demanding back from you.
We didn't bill correctly.
Yeah, we billed.
It was a billing.
Chairman, please let me ask him the question, and I greatly appreciate you try to answer for him. Please don't.
Yeah, there were 3 issues. The detox, we billed detox patients as psych patients. In prior years, I don't have the years in front of me, but they were a number of years back. And that was, we had a payback of 2.9 on that. We get HICRA assessments for all of our cash receipts that we have to pay the state, and they did an audit of that for multiple years. And
So we overcharged them?
we what?
Did we overbill them?
No, we have to pay on our cash assessments a certain amount. And they found that on some of the carriers that we got the money on, we didn't pay it completely. So we had to pay 2.6 on that.
All right, you can continue, but Chairman, if I have your blessing, I would like to follow up this on a personal call to Rich, if you don't mind.
Sure, we'll arrange for it, absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay. The other piece of on the balance sheet is we are repaying the Medicare loans. They gave us 2 loans totaling $26 million during the COVID crisis. They're taking it back at 25% of what we get from Medicare. You can see the amounts that we're paying back month over month, and that will run probably through sometime around April and May of next year, because it goes from 25% to 50%. And then you see our cash balance has been holding pretty steady. It's dropped off a little bit because we're still waiting on the jail contract to be finalized and approved. And once that happens, we will receive payment from the county.
And how much will that be?
As of now, it's probably about $13 million because it's about $1,750,000 every month. They owe us from March forward because we were working through on the contract. We came to agreement on the contract. The county then presented it to NYFA for approval. I think NYFA has talked about it. It was presented by the sheriff to NYFA. And I think at this point, they're somewhat satisfied with all of the issues that they raised, that NYFA raised about that contract. And I think NYFA has it scheduled for finalization. I think it's next week.
Thank you.
Editorial comment. Steve, if you recall, we lost some margin on that contract because NYFA forced the sheriff's office to bid it rather than just giving it to us. So they've been pretty aggressive in policing that contract. So I think that's what part of the holdup is.
Right.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey, this is chairman contract you're talking about with the jail?
Jail, correct.
And that's because of, I like to be investigated that situation because of the former chairman before you. I think there was some conflict of interest was played, and I would like to request further to be looked into it, that matter as well. I requested it before, and I will, under your leadership, I hope we continue to request if the former chairman had played or something to do with it, had a questionable circumstances.
Why don't we,
Jail
can I make a suggestion? With that request, why don't we refer it to the legal audit committee so that we can look at it in the committee before we do anything?
Steve, you'll take up the referral in your committee.
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Okay, the last thing on the balance sheet is we had an agreement with Nassau County for them to pay us for all amounts from 2012 to 2019 for $30,700,800,000. As of now, they have paid the whole 30 million, almost 800,000. You see the first 2 payments that they made of 10 million 3 and then another 10 million 3. In the next month, that's not shown there. They did pay the final 10 million 3 of that, so that we're paid up on all of that. The last thing I'd like to talk about, just we did fix. We talked to the finance committee in the past about this, and the board. We did fix out the debt that we have. It was a variable rate demand bond with letters of credit, which were really a risk in the credit markets and the bond markets. We successfully fixed that out at the beginning of July. And we now have fixed rate debt rather than variable rate. At 5% because we had swap agreements that we fixed it out at 4.5%. And we had to pay the cost of remarketing them and issuing them.
Okay.
So.
Rich, while you're here, can you also speak a bit towards the initiative that the 3 public benefit hospitals are having towards approaching this? Speak a bit towards that.
Sure. We've been discussing with Erie County Medical Center over the last 8 or 9 months, initiative for the 3 public benefit corporations to go to the state and ask for a permanency of trying to fix the deficits that the 3 of us have run historically every year. And we go hand in hand up to Albany pretty routinely. Where it's really become more of an issue now is, as you saw with the budget, our New York State aid, all of the programs, the VBPQIP, DSRIP, and all the other programs have kind of sunsetted, and our New York State aid has dropped off dramatically. That gave rise to the budgeted loss this year of $116 million. We've been working with Erie County over the last 8 or 9 months to formulate a way to go to the state, and we did that successfully. And once we did that, we asked.
I'm sorry, Richard, you're saying we. Who is we?
I've been dealing with Erie County.
Are you, while you are dealing with it, are you have the chairman of the board or the CEO, the Dr. Bhujan, except you dealing with it alone?
You know, Bobby, I've had several conversations with Erie County Medical Center.
It's very important. I do not feel comfortable, Mr. Rich, dealing alone this things, okay? Because I have big time discomfort if you're dealing it alone.
But Bobby, at least since I've been here, I've been on top of it.
And I appreciate
Chairman with ECMC, and I have a meeting coming up on the 27th this month.
I appreciate that you are hands-on involvement, and because it's very important to me. If he's doing it alone, I have too many questions.
I will say I think Mr. Rank did an excellent job thus far.
I'm not saying that he didn't did excellent job or not. That can be reviewed later on. I'm just simply saying whatever he's doing, it should be also looked, or what with one of our executive officers or yourself.
Yeah, no, Mr. Clyde, let me just explain. I've been having the conversations with Erie County, and I've engaged Dr. Booten and Megan on that to inform them what we're doing. However, what I've been doing with them is a lot of the reimbursement piece of it, the disproportionate share piece of it, and how that gets funded through the state budget, through the city budget with the state budget, and the SUNY budgets with the state budget. So a lot of it was financial. So that's why we've been trying.
I understand, and I appreciate you sharing it. I'm satisfied with the chairman's answer. As long as he's involved and you keeping them a part of this communication is very important, and I thank you.
Dr. Kaladi, one other thing, Park Strategies has also been very involved in this process,
Right.
and hands-on in every meeting.
Right. We're now at a point where we formulated the issue and how it can be solved within the state budget. We have a couple of alternatives of how the state could satisfy the 3 PBCs to fund them in a meaningful way on a permanent basis. We've now, over the last, I'd say 3 months, including everybody in the room, we formulated or we shared that with all of the lobbyist groups that for each of the 3 respective PBCs. And now they're formulating a way to go to Albany, to reach out to the local legislatures and to engage that before the budget process up in Albany takes hold too much, so that we can get on to the budget initiatives of the state, so we get included in this year's the upcoming state budget.
And putting the technicals aside, fundamentally, what we're asking for is that the 3 PBCs be treated from a reimbursement perspective the same way that the SUNYs are treated. We're asking for parity with the SUNYs. And then the one other thing that I want to note is that the New York Department of Health has asked CMS for another round of DSRIP, and we are eagerly awaiting any news on how that goes.
Thank you for that answer. Thank you for clarifying.
Maybe that's next.
Okay, is there any questions on the finance side before we move on?
Yes, I do. I have another, those complaints that I continue talking for a long time. And I want to make sure you follow up. I requested in every meetings. So far, I not given any answers. And now I'm going to be more specific. When we bump into each other on the outing, and I brought up the question on who is Raymond Cruz. When the people receive bills and it given to the collections, and when people call back to pay their bills and nobody answer. Can we keep the conversation among all of us, please? Thank you. And this specific person, when people, they want to pay from the collection agency, they say, okay, you have to call this person. His name is Raymond Cruz. Who is Raymond Cruz who do not answer any phone calls? I want to know, and I keep asking, why he is working there, not answering the people's call when people have billing questions and their credit getting ruined. Aren't we subject to this nonsense to be cleared out? It's so long.
Okay, I will find out who he is.
Do you know who he is?
I do not.
Bobby, can I just jump in for a second?
Please.
We're apparently about to lose a quorum. So very quickly, I'd like to make a motion to approve MPAC before we lose our quorum, the MPAC minutes
That's fair.
from 8th. So can we solicit a motion?
I can make the motion to be to pass the.
I can make the motion since it's my committee. Thank you. It's the motion for the impact minutes of 8/5/2021. If I could have a motion. Bobby?
I make the motion to pass that.
Okay.
Steve?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you, everyone.
Okay.
Thank you.
I want to come back to Dr. Colati, but Dr. Colati, are you available tomorrow? I'm actually in the hospital all day, and there are some, I want to follow up on a handful of the things you asked about.
I appreciate that. I will make myself available to come in.
You're going to come in the afternoon, is that okay?
If that's what the time you have it, that's the way. When I want the answer, I make myself available. I don't make no excuses.
I'll be on the 19th floor.
I come in, you let me know what time, okay?
Okay, we'll text tonight.
Thank you. And so I don't have any questions. If you guys don't have any question, I also wanted to go to another event, but I want to make sure we take care of hospital's business first. But before we go, I do want to bring to your attention what we're doing about our cath lab. I did reach out to some of the people who around Long Island who's equally interested. I told them to reach out to you as well as to Dr. Bhutan. I don't want to cath lab issue to be dead. I offer my services, no cost to no one, to go work hard and get that. We cannot afford not to have cath lab situation, surgery in our hospital. Chairman, we, under your leadership, things are working good. Morale of the hospital is better. And I'm not afraid to criticize if the other way around. And I thank you for your leadership, what you're doing. At least I reach out to so many employees in our hospitals. Now, because of your leadership and the Dr. Bhutan's, morale of the hospital among employees is much better than I can tell you was. and I thank you for your service as well.
Oh, it's all Dr. Booten, Bobby.
All right.
But to your
All right.
question with the capital.
Take the compliment, Chairman. Take the compliment from me. You don't want me to criticize you.
Okay, Bobby, thank you. Motion to adjourn, any other?
If there's no things, Chairman, I can make the motion to adjourn it if you don't mind.
Thank you, Bobby. We have a motion, do we have a second?
Adjourned. Could I ask a question here? I've been looking at the budget and I'm trying to understand it. The last couple of years, our fund balance has gone up. And this is amazing to me because I think if it's not our biggest problem, it's among the top 3 of our biggest problems, and that is our solvency. And yet when I look at the budget, all I see is our fund balance going up, which to me interprets that we're covering all our expenses and we're even saving money, which obviously is not the point.
When you say fund balance, you mean our cash?
I would be, by the way, I'm Chief Financial Officer for one international corporation and 2 national corporations with total assets about $60 billion. So I would be able to understand the budget a lot more if the income and the expenses were tabulated on a basis of non-recurring income and recurring income. So we would have some picture of the budget going beyond the 1 year and looking down the line to see whether we really have a difficult problem or not. So whoever is constructing the budget, if it to me, it would be very helpful if we had income separated by recurring income and non-recurring income. And the expenses would be predictable on the same basis. So that's the recommendation I would make to the financial department, and take it for what it's worth, just casting it out there.
Yeah, in general, most of our operations are recurring. The one-time programs of the state have kind of sunsetted. So we don't have a lot of what we used to see of district for 5 years now. District's gone. Where our balance sheet jumps around a lot, and you will see it in August. We just got notice in August from the New York State Controller's Office that we have an $11 million GASB 68 gain on our pension plan. The problem we have is between OPEB, or our health benefits for retirees, and the pension plan, they have such a significant impact on our balance sheet. Although it's not a cash impact, it's the actuarial driven valuations that drive that. When you see the August financials, you're going to see swings of over $100 million on a couple lines in the balance sheet because the state controller's office changed the discount rate that they use for the pension liabilities from 6.8% down to 5.9%. That has like $180 million swing for us as an institution. Keep in mind, we are a $600 million organization. The pension plan of New York State has $220 billion, would it be, $billion in assets. So that is, we are the proverbial pimple on the elephant's behind relative to the pension plan. And for that reason, our balance sheet swings wildly, because if you look at it over the last 2 years, we took a $33 million loss, a GASB 68 loss, which is a pension loss, because the market melted down a week before they valued the plan. This year, we have an $11 million gain. If they didn't play with the discount rates, we would have had a $50 million gain, because their assumed rate of return on these investments of 6.5% were far exceeded this year at 34%. So and just let me add to the craziness of it. We have a gain this year, and we have to pay 18% of payroll as our cash contribution. Last year, we had a $33 million loss, and we paid 15% of payroll as a contribution. The mechanics of pension accounting and OPEB accounting are almost not understandable for most people who don't work with it every day. It's very difficult. What you see and our net balance increasing, it's a deficit. It's $1 billion deficit as of now, and it increases every year that we have losses. That's why it appears to be going up, but it's a negative number. It goes up because it's an accumulated loss.
Rich, we have a motion to adjourn the meeting. So we already had a second chairman. So you need to take the vote so we can leave.
Okay.
I have one last question, which is yes or no, and that is, could you tell me where we're posting grant money in the budget?
It's in miscellaneous. It's only a very small piece. We have a couple small grants. Miscellaneous income.
Well, maybe it's me. I still have a problem understanding the budget. I'll pass on it for now. I don't want to delay the meeting.
Frank, good seeing you. God bless you. And 30 years, brother. Stay healthy.
We're all in favor of the adjournment? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Steve, call me when you finish, okay? Thank you, Chairman. God bless. Have a good night.